Writer, broadcaster, patriot, public servant. Elizabeth Akua Ohene was born on the 24th of January 1945 in Abutia Teti in the Volta region, the eldest daughter of a famous headmaster. She is one of Ghana's most distinguished public relations specialists. From the curb sports reporter she loved being early in her career, to newspaper and magazine editor, to mouthpiece of presidents, even when she disagreed with them.
I don't remember exactly how I met Elizabeth Ohene, but what I know, the facts that are there, are that we were contemporaries at university. She was a member of Walter Hall, the Ladies' Hall, the Women's Hall, and I was in the Premier Hall, the Young Hall, and we've been friends ever since. Happy that she's joined the 80 plus club, and this is somebody who has been a special person in my life and a special person, I believe, in the life of our country. We have both been part and parcel of the political tradition that goes under the rubric Danko Domo Buzia political tradition. We knew each other in London in the difficult days of military rule in Ghana. And when she came back into Ghana in the 90s, the NPP had then been formed and we were working in it. So the most important quality that she brought to me, both in the run-up to my presidency and during the presidency, was straight talking. And it was the main reason why I always kept Elizabeth by my side, because I knew that with her, whatever her views were, palatable, unpalatable, agreeing with mine, not agreeing with mine, she would say it as it is.
She began her career at the Daily Graphic, Ghana's largest circulation daily newspaper, and soon won promotion to staff writer, columnist, and lead writer, becoming the acting editor of the Graphic and the Mirror in 1979. That made her the first one in Africa to edit a major daily publication.
I am Ben Mensah, former General Secretary of the Ghana Journalistic Association, a long-term good friend of Elizabeth. We met at the Daily Graphic. She was my senior. She had worked at the Sunday Mirror for some time. In fact, writing a column called Chat with Grandma, a very witty column, a very popular one, which gave the name Grandma. On the Graphic, she was one time the editor of the paper, and I was the news editor. And I recall when General Champon and Utuka were executed in 1979. I got to know about it, and I put together a team, including a reporter, a cameraman, and a driver. We went to the Burma camp, taken to the shooting range, and at dawn, and the Nautuka and the Champon were executed.
One great name from journalism and activism in the 1980s is Abdul Malik Kwekubako. He explained why he admires her so much.
Thought of a headline. If I were writing a story on this remarkable woman's professional journey to date. And I thought of titling the story this way: Courage of Conviction Personified. I repeat, Courage of Conviction Personified. That's, for me, Miss Ohene in terms of her journalistic and professional career. I would reference excerpts of a letter she wrote to Commissioner D.K. Afre, who was then the Commissioner for Information under the AFRC. And this was when the AFRC regime had decided to appoint Miss Ohene as the acting editor of the Daily Graphic. These excerpts I'm going to read come from a report, a document, or if you like, an article written by Barbara Harold Bond. And this was written somewhere in 1980. Diary of a Revolution, which might have been part 2, to cut a real revolution right in the middle. That was the title of the article and the reference. Miss Ohene's reaction to her appointment as an acting editor of the Daily Graphic, one would have expected that, look, why not? Who doesn't want elevation and promotion? But this remarkable lady had this to say in a letter to Commissioner D.K. Afre. I quote, "Much as I'm ready to face the challenges that will be posed by the post of editor of Ghana's largest circulation newspaper, I would like to state again my preoccupation with the proper mode of effecting such a change. I have personally been very concerned and loud in condemnation of the removal of editors every time there is a change of government, giving the unfortunate impression that each government wants an editor that will sing the official tune only. If the editor of the Daily Graphic is being removed only because there has been a change of government and his loyalty is that suspect, then I'm afraid that I find it impossible to accept the offer. If, however, there are good reasons for removing him, then I would like such reasons to be publicly given so that I do not have any struggle with my conscience. There is the added consideration of the provisions that have been made in the Constitution of the Third Republic about the press. Editors are supposed to be appointed by the Press Commission, and I believe that it would be appropriate that a situation is not created whereby on the coming into office of the new government, it will feel compelled to remove me or any other editor because such a person was appointed by the previous government.
A decision to publish an editorial critical of Jerry Rawlings' military government forced her into exile in 1982. But in London, her talents for producing news and features and getting the best out of other people took her to a new high point. She joined the BBC's Africa service, reporting from South Africa in 1993 and 1994 as it moved to democracy. It was a time of world-changing events, working closely with Milton Nkosi, later head of the BBC South Africa Bureau.
Happy 80th birthday, Lisbeth, the one and only Lisbeth. You are such a wonderful and special person. When you turn 80, we don't just celebrate today, but we celebrate the decades that we spent with you. When you were here in South Africa, you and I spent so much time covering the end of apartheid and covering the end of white minority rule together. And we've seen so much. We covered the bloodbath between Inkatha and the ANC. And one morning I was nearly shot with gun held to my head while you were looking helplessly from the car. All these memories flood back as I think about your wonderful friendship. And you housed Dorcas and I in your flat in Hendon in London while we were waiting for our apartment to get ready. And we used to take the Northern Line and get off at Brent Cross tube and go to the Brent Cross shopping center, which was always shocking for us coming from Johannesburg. It was so small compared to some of our malls here. And you and I used to discuss this for many years. And we remember so many. I remember 9/11, September 11th, the day the aeroplanes flew into New York and killed so many people. I was with you in Ghana and with President Kufuor because we were coming to interview him for the BBC. And that's why the interview actually didn't happen in the end, because he was worried about his sons in the US who were studying there. And we met your children, your family became our family, and our family became yours. So happy birthday. We love you. Wishing you many, many, many happy returns from Dorcas, Milton, Khosi, and Kanyisile in Johannesburg.
Unsurprisingly, the obvious talented Elizabeth was promoted by the BBC, becoming deputy editor of English daily programs for the Africa Service. The then editor of the Africa Service, he who must be obeyed, was Robin White. He and a host of other names at the BBC gained deep respect for Elizabeth even when there were differences. He explains why Elizabeth Ohene was so striking in times that perhaps weren't so different from today.
Hi Elizabeth, this is Robin, your favourite tyrant. What a week it's been. Trump sworn in as America's president, and to cap it all, your 80th birthday, thus proving that the beautiful, the wise and the good don't necessarily die young. I've been rereading some of the things Elizabeth wrote in the Focus on Africa magazine. Here's what she had to say in 1992 about coups in Africa. A successful coup is only successful, she wrote, if you can show just how dreadful the people you have overthrown were. Thus, a certain breed of journalists are particularly useful. They will write and send reports to foreign radio stations about how corrupt the old politicians were. As for those manning diplomatic missions abroad, they will go down with serious cases of laryngitis and will only recover after a week. Here we are, 30 years later, and how things haven't changed. Diplomats the world over have suddenly concluded that Trump may not be such a disaster after all. Businessmen are flocking to pay tribute, and some newspapers here who are talking of impending disasters are saying, give the man a chance. Happy birthday, Elizabeth. Keep up the wisdom.
Hello. My name is Ben Dotse Malo, formerly of the BBC, where Sister Elizabeth Ohene was deputy editor, Focus on Africa, and I am now at UN headquarters in New York. There are many things I could say about Sister Elizabeth, which is how I call her. Now, I'm not going to go into the points of divergence because there was a day people in the Volta region voted a certain way, which was not favorable to Sister Elizabeth, and she found a way to convey her annoyance to me in that big sisterly way where all the Obronis, Yavus were all wondering, what is Elizabeth having a go at Ben for? But that is what a big sister is. Now, three things. People don't know that if Elizabeth had not left the BBC to come join President Kufuor's government, the opening probably wouldn't have come up for me to try twice to step in her shoes as deputy editor of Focus on Africa to Robin White. Secondly, I have this point of commonality. Elizabeth's dad was headmaster Mauli School in Ho many years before I finished Kitasco Form 5 and went to Mauli for 6th form. So there is the Mauli link as well. And then maybe just one last thing. I have an iconic photo of me and Jerry Rawlings and his wife. I know Sister Elizabeth can say something about this, but we won't go there. That photo, I believe, was taken by Sister Elizabeth in Soweto in 1994, where Sister Elizabeth was on the ground in Johannesburg as the BBC person, and I joined her there on assignment from London, and she accepted, received, and guided me to do reportage. So, Sister Elizabeth, I will dwell on the wonderful, common, and beautiful things between the two of us. I just wish you another 80 years. I know somebody's laughing. The reason I can say another 80 years, you refuse to age. In fact, I don't know how many people are going to believe that you are 80. So I wish you great health. I wish you joy. I wish you God's goodness. Akbar, Akbar, Akbar. God bless you.
This is Lindsay Hilsum here. I'm the international editor of Channel 4 News in the UK, and I was a colleague of Elizabeth's back in the 80s on Focus on Africa. What a wonderful journalist Elizabeth is. What fun we had together. I just want to wish her the most fantastic 80th birthday.
My name is Barnaby Phillips in London, a former BBC Africa colleague of Elizabeth. These days I'm still a journalist and I write history books. Dear Elizabeth, my heartfelt congratulations on this important birthday. You taught me so much about Africa and about journalism, which you always practiced with integrity and your characteristic honesty. I was a stressed young graduate, but in the BBC Focus on Africa office in Bush House, you were never in a hurry. You always enjoyed the job. Such important lessons. And you just seemed to know everybody all over the continent. It was infuriating. Later, you took me into the South African townships to see Winnie Mandela at a rally. And when I was based in Nigeria, you turned up there. And your good humour and energy for telling human stories was infectious. Only last year, you and Prof treated me to the most delicious lunch in Accra, a memory I savour. Happy birthday, dear Elizabeth.
Elizabeth, 80 is the new 60 and 60 is the new 40. I knew you first as a colleague and now as a dear friend. I think of you making your life over from one country to another 4 times over, and I'm nothing but awe but for all that you do and how you do it. Newspapers to radio to politics to eminence grise. Well, perhaps not too much of the grise. One of the very best columnists, witty, sharp, sometimes unbearably painful, but always essential. When I'm under cross-examination by Prof, you are always there to help. I would say I hope you can now put your feet up and take it easy, but for that, some chance. For Elizabeth Ohene, this is Anthony Goldman in London.
In 2001, President John Agyekum Kufuor summoned Elizabeth home to Ghana and named her his official spokeswoman. She later served as the Minister of State in charge of tertiary education.
I'm John Kufuor, former President of Ghana. Elizabeth was, if you like, a member of the kitchen cabinet I campaigned with to get into the presidency of Ghana. And then when we succeeded, took office 2001, she was for some time my spokesperson. And then later became Minister of State. And I think she also worked as a Minister of State at the Ministry of Education. But so that's the relation, but quite close. Very, well, intelligent should go without my saying it. Very intelligent, very loyal, and has very strong opinions in life, for life. So that's how I've known her. We are still very friendly, and to the extent that I call her by her day name, Akua. Everybody knows her as Elizabeth, but between us, she's Akua. It's a very ongoing relationship, and she knows I like her a lot. Already, I've had occasion to express my wishes for her, for now and into the future, which must belong for her. because she's still very spry, active, alert mentally. And so I pray that the good Lord will continue to bless her with life, very active life, and a healthy one, happiness and prosperity.
Elizabeth Ohene is a distinctly Ghanaian profile in courage. She's a role model to many, both men and women.
My name is Kenneth Ashibe. I used to be managing director of Graphic Communications Group. And so I've had this long-term, admiration for her, for all the things that she stood for. As a young boy growing up, the BBC then, when we did not have plural broadcasting media, was another place that I went. And as a young man, you see, I'm a patriot to the heart. So when I sit and I tune into the BBC and I hear a Ghanaian, delivering Focus on Africa and, with such dexterity, it gladdens my heart. And so I pray that Auntie Elizabeth, Mauntona or now Agbesesa, na nomiangu, na namia damu, na miata plomia for Ghana. Congratulations, Auntie Elizabeth.
My name is Oboshi Kofi. Elizabeth is my friend, my colleague at work. She's a mentor to me, and she's my personal comedian. She makes me laugh a lot because she says the funniest things at the most unexpected times. She's a very interesting person in that she's a synthesis of so many facets that seem to be opposing but come together beautifully in her. She works very hard, but she plays just as hard. Um, she she loves going to church. She's very, very churchy, and she has a beautiful singing voice, which she displays mostly at church. And she knows all the lyrics to all the hymns. She's so active and so strong. She's just set me an example that I think I'm going to find it hard to follow. I'd like everybody who's benefited from her skills or from her passion to say thank you to Elizabeth, because she does what she does selflessly. She asks for no return. A lot of the jobs she's done have not been paid for. She's just done them voluntarily. And I think a national thank you is in order for her. I wish her a great life. I wish her many more dancing years. I wish her the best of health. I wish her to have good times with her family, especially with her grandkids. And she should never stop being the passionate Elizabeth she is. She should keep it up till the end.
That was former Minister of Information, Oboshi Kofi. Despite the great responsibility that came with her eventful career, Elizabeth Ohene has always placed a high value on family and has played an important part in the lives of relatives.
I am Kofi Ansa Ofuso. I'm a husband of Elizabeth Ohene. I'm completely dependent on her just to carry on. In this house, we don't worry about age or how long for. We just carry on. I don't feel that I'm old. Carry on is my message to everybody. And she carries on and runs this house very well. Elizabeth is a wonderful, wonderful person. And we argue about everything in this world. Happy birthday. Just don't change. Carry on. And don't let Ghanaians intimidate you.
Sami Ohene is my name, and Elizabeth is my older sister. I come 4 after her. Actually, we're very close. She, in a sense, many people say I, in particular, and herself, kind of look like and have certain habits that my father had. She was somebody who says it as it is. You knew exactly where you stood with her. And when she was up to something, her pronouncements on a particular issue, usually quite public also, she doesn't what you see is what you get with her. And that is something that I like very much. If you told me that you were able to talk her out of maybe publishing a story or saying something after a brown envelope had changed hands, I don't even need to worry to bother to ask her because I know that it's not possible.
Susan Ohene, I'm Elizabeth's youngest sister. I'm number 7 and she's number 1. And I tell people that I won the lottery by being the last of the Ohene siblings. When I was a child, even though I was with my parents, I spent very pleasant vacations with her when I was much younger. When she travels, she comes back. Everything that was fancy, even if she didn't buy it for herself, she bought it for me. So I was always very well dressed, had the best of everything that you could give to any child. My greatest wish is that she continues to be blessed with good health. May she always remember, and I know she would, that she's an Ohene and an Asempapa. Darling, may the coming years be more peaceful than the turbulent almost 80 years you've had. You've had a very, very turbulent life, but you've navigated it. And I want a much quieter, but maybe noisy, but noisy in a better way. Not as much pressure as you've been under for the past 80 years.
My name is Abna Ansa Grace Adum Amenuveve Eche. And Miss Elizabeth Ohene is literally my mother because, as she always says, she knew me before I was born. My parents and Elizabeth lived next door to each other in Laboni. So when I was born, she was one of the first people I ever met. And actually, one of the first people whose names I knew was hers. As a child, I used to call her my friend Auntie Eli. We've traveled this life together. When she went to Exile, when she came back, she became Minister of State for Tertiary Education. And I got back from the London School of Economics, and she says, "You're going to be my special assistant." So beyond traveling this life together as friend and friend, we also traveled together as boss and underling. So in the Ministry of Education, she said to me one day, "Abunansa, you don't know anywhere in this Ghana. If I sent you to Paris to rule the whatever, you know what to do and what to take, but you don't know Ghana." And so she took me 10 regions, Afram Plains, Bongo, Tongo, Hamile. There's nowhere in Ghana I do not know. Dwaboso, every single corner of this country, Elizabeth took me. Last week I was in London, my car didn't work. I called her within 10 minutes. It's not pounds, so plenty big healthy pounds were in my account. So until I am so blessed that our paths crossed, that our parents were good friends, and this relationship has lasted nearly 60 years before I was born. And even after both of them are gone, the relationship still gets going. And for that today, Auntie, Lambe Sese Abodrika. The only thing I wish is what she always wished for yourself every single day. The best of health. As you live today, no medicines, no supplements, you don't have a doctor, you don't know what blood pressure is, you don't know about sugar disease, you just get up and you go. May you live long, Elizabeth. May you live healthy. You know this child of yours, she just loves you, loves you, loves you. Afishiapo. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
My dear Elizabeth, we met in 1978. We have shared 47 years of friendship and sisterhood. Every moment with you has been special. Many memories flood my mind when I think of you. But let me take you back 40 years when we were both in exile in London. For 2 years, you consistently picked me up every Saturday to go grocery shopping at Waitrose. I enjoyed those hours we had to ourselves. This is a testament to the kind of loyal friend you have always been. Today, I wish you a happy 80th birthday. I pray for God to bless you with good health and wisdom. Happy birthday, Akua. This is Seti.
The relationships Elizabeth Ohene has built in her 60-year career as a journalist go well beyond work, even among colleagues. Younger friends from the Africa service speak of the impact she has had on their work and how they see themselves. Kadaria Ahmed is now the manager of Radio Now 95.3 in Lagos. She started out as a protege of Elizabeth, one of many.
Hello, boss, and happy birthday. Yes, I refuse to call you by your first name. I know you keep insisting we should. It doesn't sit well with me. I think it would be just so disrespectful. But I can't believe I'm sitting here wishing you a happy 80th birthday. Really? You don't look at it over 50 and you know it. And I think these are some of the things about you really that are just so inspirational for me. Is your vitality, the way you carry yourself, the way you live life with integrity. Been really inspirational, boss. Thank you so much for everything that you've done for me, for others, and for leading your life in such a way that it's just a shining example for all of us, for leading with integrity, but also with compassion and with heart. Wishing you a wonderful, wonderful 80th birthday. I wish I could be there. I can't, sadly. You know what's happening with Naira. But anyway, hopefully before the end of the year, I will come and see you. I hope you have a wonderful celebration. It's well deserved. Bye-bye.
This is Akua Ohene, colleague of Elizabeth at the BBC African Service many years ago. Working alongside her was truly a piece of luck. Always clear-minded, she knew more than any of us and could spot and deflate swagger with a few humorous but cutting observations. To this day, I feel grateful for her generosity as I learned the work and for her unsparing but supportive critique when I fell short. Thank you, Liz, and happy birthday.
Beloved Elizabeth, my friend, my mentor, my inspiration, happy, 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 happy birthday. Elizabeth, you taught me everything I know about how to be a journalist and above all a writer, which is a real shared passion of ours. You're brave, you're brilliant in mind and spirit, plus the added bonus of being a great beauty. You brought home to our millions and millions of listeners the horrors of war, perhaps especially in Sierra Leone. You got told off in places like Zambia for going bareback when you tried to enter Parliament, whatever that meant. And somehow, Elizabeth, amongst all of this, we managed to have a lot of fun, especially on Sundays when you'd come into the Focus on Africa office in your church finery and say, Mary, it's time for cocktails. And we'd get out the Pims, the fresh strawberries, the fresh cucumber, the lemonade, the ice. We'd go out onto the balcony. We'd have our cocktail. We'd suddenly look at the clock and say, oh my goodness, what about the programme? You never panicked. And we always made a great programme. That's you, Elizabeth. Grace, fun, brilliance, inspiration. Happy birthday, happy birthday, happy birthday.
Dear Elizabeth, I can't believe that you're 80, but in the spirit of age is but a number, I can only say that you're a testimony to a lively, youthful, mischievous spirit that immediately drew me to you. I don't know if people know this, but you are actually the reason why I came to work at the BBC in more ways than one. You met me in South Africa, and when you saw me again, when I came as a guest to the BBC as a student, I think you told me once that you told Robin that I should come and work at the BBC. So you steered the trajectory of my life, and I can't thank you enough for that. You have been an amazing mentor in the sense that your spirit, so lively, so challenging, and at the same time irreverent, but without being disrespectful of people's basic essence is something that I value every single day because I think I imbibed it through osmosis from you. You are one of the most inspiring, the most interesting, and the most fabulous people that I've ever worked with. There's no better mentor than Elizabeth Ohene. I wish for you every joy. Thank you for everything.
Good morning. This is Max Bunkley Jarrett, and it's a great pleasure this morning to send this greeting to Elizabeth Ohene, who is such an inspiration to myself and so many of us. Elizabeth, happy 80th birthday. I want to take this opportunity also to thank you so much again for being the inspiration you are to me and to so many others. I recall vividly the first time I met you when I walked into the Focus on Africa office in August 1990, and you were one of the first to take me under your wing, to guide me and to mentor me and to help me become the broadcaster that I eventually became for the 11 years I spent at the BBC. And thank you above all for being you. You really are someone who's very special to me, and I know to so many others with us. So again, happy birthday, Elizabeth. Wishing you many more years of joy, good health, and love. Happy birthday again.
Elizabeth Ohene, 80. Wow. Happy birthday, we wish you. Happy birthday, we wish you. Happy birthday, we wish you. Yes! Blessings, Eddie. Chaufi.
Happy 80th birthday, Elizabeth, as I still refuse to call you grandma like my other colleagues. Having survived 8 decades on this set, and especially in Ghana, is no mean achievement. Thanks for allowing us to tap into your store of wisdom, bravery, and excellence. May the Almighty grant you the perfect health with the accompanying wealth to enjoy the rest of your days. Cheers.